Welcome to the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the original food service equipment repair podcast built by technicians for technicians. Whether you're on the front lines of repair, keeping the kitchen running smoothly, or just passionate about the food service repair industry, this podcast is your go-to source for expert insight, tech tips, and real stories from the field. Everything said on the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles comes straight from the hosts and guests and does not represent the views of their employers, companies, or partners. We're here to share real stories, real experiences, and real opinions. Take it as insight, not as official policy. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. Tonight, I have a very special guest, Mr. Eric Kaiser, another fellow Hoosier, battling this rain. It's never going away, it seems like. I think we got 48 hours of dry weather this week, and I was nice to get my yard mowed, but that's about it. I really appreciate him coming on. I'm if you guys know me, you know I'm terrible about booking guests, and I thought I had someone lined up, and I didn't confirm soon enough, and I put out the feelers yesterday, and I had all kinds of interest, so I got some guests scheduled, but Eric was kind enough to step up and come on this week, and we're going to talk about some big changes Eric has going on. I met Eric a couple of years ago, and I didn't realize he was from Indiana. He worked, pretty close to some of the places I worked at, some of the companies I know, some of the people I know, and it's really cool to see what he's doing now. But first, I got to do this before I get in trouble. So you've probably heard of Nylog Blue, but don't sleep on Nylog White. It's non-hardening, non-drying sealant for threaded connections, gaskets, and O-rings. It uses an advanced blend of silicones and Teflon and is NSF registered, making it ideal for potable water, ice machines, and food packaging areas. It's also non-corrosive, non-toxic, and here's a bonus. It even washes out of your clothes way easier than traditional pipe dope. Trust me, because I'm the guy that will wipe pipe dope all over my uniforms, and it comes right out. My wife doesn't complain. The uniform guy doesn't complain, so it works there. So if you're working with air, water, gas, or glycol systems, grab some Nylog White and try it for yourselves. That stuff works pretty good, man. I can't complain. And it doesn't turn to concrete. A lot of that pipe dope out there you use, it turns to concrete. You can never get those fittings back off. And I haven't had that problem with that. So it's cool to see it comes out and it works great. So Mr. Eric Kaiser, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Pat. Man, I'm doing good. Hey, does that Nylog White, does it come out easier than the anti-seize?
Yeah. It doesn't make as big as mess as anti-seize.
It doesn't coat like everything you touch as soon as you touch it.
No, anti-seize is weird. Like you can have it, you can open it, not have it anywhere but in the bottle. You look away and look back, and it's all over your hands, it's over your face. You're like, is there like a gremlin smearing this crap on me or what?
I swear it's just like got a magnet for skin. Like it gets, like you said, you open the bottle anywhere near it, you just covered in it. You look like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's definitely a battle with that stuff. So no, it does pretty good. It's pretty runny, but it works great. I mean, I use it in greasy situations. And it's NSF, that's big in my industry, working in food and restaurants. So I don't want to use anything that's going to get anybody sick or, crazy smells. I mean, I've got some of this coil cleaner that we use that you spray it and you can't breathe and it says it's safe. I'm like, there's no way this stuff's safe. My eyes are burning. So, Eric, you're from Central Indiana. Let's start at the beginning. How did you get in the HVAC industry?
Oh man. So that goes way back. I was climbing commercial towers. Now, when I say commercial towers, like I'm working on cell towers, I'm working on broadcast towers, doing all kinds of stuff, traveling all over the Midwest, out of St. Louis. And I met my first wife one day who actually worked for a cell company, was a technician for a cell company. And she and I started dating, and her dad came to me one day and he says, "Hey, I understand you might want to get off the road." Because I'd been kicking around. We traveled. I was out 2 weeks at a time, and then I'd come back for a weekend and then out 2 weeks for again. And, that starts to get old after a little while. I don't mind traveling, but constant traveling is rough, especially when you're trying to have a home life and things like that. He came to me and he said, "Hey, I need a technician." He said, "I need somebody that I can trust. I'll train you. Come on into the company." And I thought about it. We, girlfriend and I at the time discussed it, and I made the jump. And, as I told somebody earlier today on Facebook, you can check out, but you can never leave. And here I am.
A great reference, sir. It seems like once it gets a hold of you, it's kind of just in you. I mean, and the cool thing is that there's so many different avenues to go. Like you've done field work to consulting to, you know, being a man working for companies, engagement, and now doing your own thing. And let's walk through like some of the steps and some of the processes that you've done over the years. You've done, you know, residential all up to building science, big stuff. I mean, you've covered it all, it seems like.
Well, I wouldn't say all of it. I mean, I've covered a pretty big area, especially for the time I've been in the industry.
Yeah.
Definitely not all of it. And if anybody says they've done everything, I'm sorry, good luck, because there's always something new out there. And then there's old stuff that falls away that we might not ever get to see. So I started out in residential, and my journey into residential, I'll say, even by today's standards, was not normal. And especially for that time, it was very not normal. The first class that I ever took, and I was required to take it by my employer. I had to go sit through a 3-day class, put on by NCI, by Jim Davis, who unfortunately just passed away this year, on combustion analysis. And he would not let me touch a fuel fired appliance on my own until I had gone and sat through that class, because it was that important to them. Everything we touched, if it was fuel fired, we did a combustion test on it. And that class, as I look back on it now, changed the trajectory of my time in the industry. It created a curiosity. It caused me to question things. It made me want to go look for more information, and to really search things out. And that, you know, as I look back on it now, that's something that really helped me a lot, because I developed a curiosity. I joined a local RSES chapter. And where I was working at was on the Illinois side of St. Louis area. So, and I was probably about an hour farther south of there, out in the country. So I started developing, you know, friends in the RSES chapter, getting into RSES materials. I started joining with some online forums, if people remember the old HVAC talk. And I think that one's actually still around.
Yeah, I think it is. This people, if you've never been a part of a forum, it can be. They think Facebook's brutal, but forums can be pretty brutal back in the day. Like there was not really mods. It was no holds barred. Forums could get ugly.
They could get ugly, and I mean, early on, HVAC talk was interesting, and then later on, like, it got more moderated. It got commercialized. Was it Contracting Business ended up buying it up, or Penton or something like that?
Yeah.
And they, you know, they did a much better job of moderating it. I ended up joining another forum that was kind of this side thing over here that had a bunch of really, really smart people in it. And I got to meet, through that, I got to meet people like Bill Spohn, like Doug Lockhart, if anybody remembers the DigiCool refrigeration gauges. I got to meet Jim Bergman years ago, and a whole host of other people around the country, and even some internationally, that just developed me into who I am today by answering questions when I had them. And
yeah, that's great to hear that, you know, you found a passion for it early. You found something that piqued that curiosity, and it really turned into what you're doing now, building things you're doing now. Everyone says they enjoy what they do or they like what they do, but if you have that passion to learn more and to constantly dive into why these things tick, why this does this, it's gonna serve you far better than anything else you can do, I think.
Yeah, and you know, like you said, you got to enjoy it. And if you enjoy doing that, man, HVAC is a never-ending black hole of looking for knowledge, I swear.
I'm in my own little sector here in the restaurants and stuff, and then like I use combustion analyzer to test some combis and stuff, and I started talking to Louise, and she's like, "Oh, this, and this." And I was like, it can do this. She's like, yeah, I can do this, this, and this. And like, I started going down a deep dive of like, the real reasons doing combustion analysis and stuff like that. I'm like, man, it's like, I just use it for this one dumb little thing to make sure this burner is burning good on this combi. But I was like, these people are using this to make sure people are safe. No one's getting sick, no one's dying. Like, this is a life-saving tool. And I'm over here like, oh, I use it like once a week to make sure this combi's burning good. And I just throw it back in the truck like it's no big deal. So it just goes to show you that, this industry, it's huge. It doesn't seem like it, but there's so many different avenues you can go down.
Well, I mean, and you can literally test anything that, if it's got natural gas or propane or like fuel oil, don't use it on an engine. But if it's got a burner in it, like you can test the refrigerators on RVs.
Really?
I used it to tune my barbecue grill.
That's a new one. That's
right?
a new one.
I wanted to adjust the air shutters on my barbecue grill to make sure everything was burning clean. Like, I don't want to be standing over that barbecue grill getting a bunch of carbon monoxide coming out at me.
Nice. Good point.
If I'm going to be standing there working at it, why do I want to breathe that?
You don't think about it. You just hook a gas line up and go. But
yeah, a lot of people just throw a tank down in there. But you know what? I got a combustion analyzer here. Why wouldn't I go out there and test that?
Well, you're probably burning hotter, more efficient, and cleaner.
Yeah,
so
I burn a little bit cleaner, a little bit more efficient. So you can do stoves. Like if you're working on cookers and things like that. You can test all those burners in there to make sure that they're burning correctly and they're burning cleanly and safely, especially, like you work on stoves over on cook lines, right? Those guys standing over those burners, even though they've got dilution air coming down around them, that stuff can come out sometimes, things that can happen. Why not test them, make them safe?
Yeah. I mean, it kills me is these people have no idea. You walk in, you see these burners and they're burning bright yellow. I'm like, this thing's burning like crap. This thing's running rough. Ovens are running terrible. Like I said, the main reason I use it is we have these combi ovens. They're all a pre-mixed draft system. So, it's pulling the gas into the draft motor and mixing it and spitting it into a burner. And that's how we just make sure they're running efficiently and they're running safely.
Yeah, so you're running like a negative pressure gas valve on that, and that those get interesting to look at because that messes with everybody's head. Like, why is my gas pressure negative?
All the new guys are like, oh, we test gas pressure on the inside. Like, we gonna test outgoing manifold? I'm like, I mean, you can, but it's not gonna do what you think. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, it's pulling the gas through. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, and I show them, I hook it up, and I use the digital one. I'm like, why is it negative? I'm like, because it's a vacuum. It's pulling the gas through and mixing it. And you try to explain it to them. And I said, it's like a high end, burner. It's efficient. It's super hot. It does a good job as long as it's set up right.
Yeah. So, that to me, was different because you're talking 2004 here. I'm sitting for 3 days in a combustion class. Nobody else in our area even knew what an analyzer was.
Yeah.
And that was a game changer. We did things like air balancing in residential. We're doing air balancing. We did have a blower door even at the time. We rarely used it. And I wish that I had understood more of like the power of that at the time. I got to use it, I think, a couple of times, but I wish that I had known the power of that even back then for testing places. But I mean, yeah, a blower door we use for leakage testing houses and buildings, but you can do so much more than that. Like you're working in coolers and things like that. Well, I can throw that door in a cooler and find leaks in that cooler in the body of it if you want.
That's crazy. I never thought about that. I always see the people running the blower door test. I'm like, this is fascinating. And I'm like, I always think like, I want to do that on my house. I'm like, no, I don't. I live in a 127-year-old house. I don't want to do that in my house. I'd probably cry.
I mean, you might, but you might not.
Yeah.
It may be really educational. I have found so many cool things with it. But here's what I want to say though. Don't think of it as a blower door test. It's a leakage test. And you can test any kind of shell you want for leakage. So if you need to test leakage, you need to find leakage. It's an amazing tool. The blower door is, but it performs a leakage test.
That's a cool way to look at it.
And once I started thinking about that, I started seeing a lot more opportunities to be able to test different things like that.
Nice. So how long did you work there before you moved on to somewhere else, something else, or
I was
you know?
there until 2010, so 6 years, and that's when I moved to Indianapolis. I got picked up by a residential company in Indianapolis that needed a retrofit installer, and I ended up being a jack of all trades. Like I would do, I'd do install in the morning, then they'd need somebody to go do service or maintenance in the afternoon. I'd be on a rooftop unit. I'd be in somebody's house. You know, coming where I came from, I had a ton of tools. Really early on, I figured out that tools were a very, very important thing, and especially good instrumentation to be able to get accurate information. Like that is our eyes and our ears.
Mhm.
And a lot of people will kind of, especially with like combustion analysis, they're like, oh, I can't afford that. It's too expensive. You got to maintain it. You got to do all this stuff. You got to calibrate it. Yeah. But that's no different than my refrigerant gauges, my temperature
Mhm.
probes, my electrical meter, anything else. It shows me something that I can't see, I can't hear, I can't smell, I can't taste, and I can't feel.
And people's lives are on the line with that. So I mean, like that's the
Can be,
wild
yeah.
thing. That's the wild thing. Like, see people out here don't know how to do it. They're in here installing gas furnaces or doing other things, and it's just like, you mean you're just like letting it go? Like you don't know what the output is? I'm like, that's kind of scary. Um, I mean, I guess you're only as good as what you know, and I used to just assume everybody was lazy or dumb, but I just think a lot of people just aren't educated, and it's sad to see that that they're putting themselves at risk and other people at risk because they're just not educated. But not everybody has that desire or has those opportunities. A lot of times, people are just put in positions where they have to do the job and they don't understand it. So I don't really blame people. I try to educate them.
I mean, there's a lot of places, and I agree with you. It's education is important, and a lot of
Mhm.
times, what I've seen is somebody new coming in the trade will get with somebody who's been in the trade a while, and that older person often will poo-poo or say, that newfangled stuff, you don't need all that. Oh, that we've been doing it this way for 30 years. I just I had a roofing company out of my house today to fix a little project that's taking way too long at our house. And they put it down again, not following the manufacturer's instructions. And I called them on it. I said, you guys need to come back and fix this. And they came back and tried to fix it today, again, using things that were against the manufacturer's instructions. And I'm like, guys, I know how to read here. I did a 5-minute internet search and I came up with the instructions. And they're like, can you send us the link to this? Wait a minute. What are we talking about here?
That's funny.
But the one guy that I'm talking to with the crew, he's like, well, I've seen them do this a lot. They do this all the time. I'm like, that doesn't make it right. Just because somebody's doing something doesn't mean it's the right way, doesn't mean it's the manufacturer's way, doesn't mean it's the best practice.
Hmm.
And I'll say that I did a lot of things early on, and still to this day, I do stuff, maybe a year ago, and I'm looking back going, wow, well, I've learned a better way. I should have done that like this, but now I know how to do it even better.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I thought I was doing it right, and you come to find out, I didn't read something right or I misunderstood what I was supposed to do. I might tell all my trainees that are with me, I'm like, hey, if you don't think I'm doing something right or you've seen it done a different way, question me. Let's talk about it. Let's work through it. Maybe I'm not right, or maybe what you've seen was wrong, or maybe it doesn't apply to the situation. But I'm here to help you do this job to the best of your abilities. If you have questions or you doubt something, please let me know and we'll work through it. I'm
Yeah.
not here. I never claim to be perfect. People put me on this pedestal a lot of times. And I'm like, it drives me nuts. I'm like, I don't want to be on this pedestal. Like, I just want to, like, I make mistakes. So, like, I'm the first person. If I make a mistake, I'm going to own it. But some people are like, oh, no, you've been doing this, this, and this. I'm like, dude, I'm just a guy who's been really lucky over the years to enjoy what I do.
Well, I think probably part of the reason that you're on that pedestal and you deserve to be on that pedestal is because what you just said there, because you admit that you're wrong, you're
Mhm,
willing to have people question you, and you're willing to work through it. Like that
mhm,
to me is more important, and that's a better person. That's something I like to work with. It's somebody I strive to be, because I love to work around people that ask me questions, just like you talked about. Yeah, Megan, I see you out there, and you are a big deal too. And
Yeah,
so is Pat.
Megan's a big deal. Megan is definitely a big deal. I was waiting for it, and she snuck it in there. It was perfect timing on her part, Megan. No, I've got a great group of people in here. Megan and Matt from Mechanical Environments always in here. Brian, Mike,
Yeah,
Freon,
Mike.
Leon.
Mike, I see you there, and I love to learn from my own mistakes. But you know what I love even better? I love to learn from other people's mistakes, because it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's always cheaper, and it's at their expense, not mine. I don't have to fix it.
Yeah. I mean, learning from those around us is really important. And like I said, I had some great people. I don't even know if all of them to this day realize how much they helped me early on. And I've told a number of them over the years. Some of them, of course, aren't even with us anymore. But the fact that I had that help early on makes me now I want to go back. I've gotten to a point where I can go back and share, and I'm still learning, but I also want to go back and share some of that knowledge with people, which is where I'm at today. I moved on through, let's see, what did I do? I talked about Indianapolis. So I went to the residential company, and I got to know some other folks around town, in here, and decided I wanted to try commercial out. And a couple of friends of mine in RSES were like, hey, come on over. We're looking for somebody. And they did a lot of manufacturing plants. Food manufacturing, other goods manufacturing, things like that. So, and as well as, places like churches and all kinds of very different stuff.
Yeah, they've got a wide client list over there. I've got some friends that work over there, and they're pretty good people. I mean, their client list, though, it blows my mind. It'd be like a restaurant to a CVS to some giant steel producing facility. I'm like, you work on more wide variety than I'll ever see, I think.
Yeah. Well, and they separated it up into different departments.
Plumbing department.
So I was on more of that, what they called the industrial side. I didn't spend much time in kitchens. They had a whole kitchen division, and I help those guys out once in a while when they need help or something like that, if I was on call. But didn't have to do that very often. They had a pretty good group of guys over there working.
Yeah, kitchens are weird. Like, people freak out. They're like, oh, it's greasy, nasty. I'm like, you go in people's houses. I'll take this over someone's house. I'm like, to each his own. We're all just products of our environment. Once you get used to what you're doing, you're used to it. But yeah, I see these guys. I watch their videos online. They're in people's houses. I'm like, no, I would not be going to that person's house. No, I'm like you go in this restaurant. I'm like, so I know what I'm getting into here.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. And I've been in a lot of different places. I've helped out on the restaurant side. Not so much on the line stuff, not so much with the food prep stuff. More of my help there was when they needed things with makeup air, stuff like that. I worked on a lot of direct fired makeup air units there, those are a whole different beast.
The first time I seen one years ago, it was probably 16, 17 years ago. I first started in hot side before I started doing refrigeration, and hot side doesn't mean fixing HVAC. It means cooking equipment only. And I transferred over. And the first time I opened up a makeup air unit, like, I was blowing cold air, and opened it up, and I just seen this massive burner just spewing straight flames and flue gas right down into the restaurant. I was like, how is this cool?
This is not what I thought I was opening up.
No, I was like, they just blow a flame and it just sucks it right inside the restaurant. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and they just literally use enough dilution air that and they burn it clean enough because they're putting enough extra air in there that doesn't if they're burning correctly. Now, they can make carbon monoxide, but it's you got to get pretty out of whack on a lot of those with either your airflow or your burners to get them to make that much. And that's something that it's really hard to combustion test those.
Yeah.
Because of the volume of air that they're running through there, and at the velocity that they're running it through there.
And it doesn't seem to fail. I don't care how good of a balance system you do in a restaurant. someone changed a belt, someone changed a pulley, didn't get it right. It's still negative. I go into restaurants. I'm like, you can't open the door. My wife's like, why is this door so hard to open? I'm like, listen to the sound. Like, I try to explain it to her. Like, you open the door and you hear the air whoosh by. I'm like, it's because they don't either have their makeup air on, their makeup air is broke, or is not set right whatsoever. I'm not sure which one it is.
Filters are dirty. The shiv is worn out. You need take your pick. I mean, there's so much there that can be not right, and it's kind of sad. I mean, one of the big things I learned in commercial, I'll say, is belts and shivs.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there is so much to know about those, way more than I ever thought about. And, you know, if anybody ever gets a chance to go take a belt and shiv class from a, I'd say it's a power distribution distributor. You know, here in Indianapolis, we got like Horner.
Yeah. Okay.
They put on the class that I took, and we did it through RSES. But it was all about belts and shivs. And man, that was an eye opener about how to be able to measure the shivs up, size those shivs, all the adjustable shivs that we have on units. Those are really there just for setup. You're actually supposed to set that up, measure up for a fixed, and then put that fixed diameter on there.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that because I've never taken a class on it. And I'm going to look into that now, because the whole belt and shift thing kind of like throws people for a loop. And it did me too. And I will say shout out to Chris Stevens, because most everything I learned from belts and shifts, I've learned from watching his videos. And like, he makes a lot of sense because he explains it in the way I understand it. But I think I probably need to go down to Horner and check out one of the classes and actually sit through it and learn the proper way to do it, instead of just like try to put it back and match RPMs, or don't overamp, or because I'm telling you, the amount of restaurants that are negative or positive air balances is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's bad. You're 100% right. And figuring out the belts and the shivs was a big piece of being able to maintain the airflow on those places, learning how to measure them, learning how to read the belt gauges, because you can get a set of plastic gauges that will measure the belts, that will measure the shivs, and that a belt tension tool and a pocket straight edge for measuring those shivs. And then I've done string alignments, I've done straight edge alignments, and I used to have a laser alignment tool until a battery manufacturer decided that I didn't need that anymore. Their batteries exploded in it. But I've used all of those, and you can get pretty doggone good with a string. I like a string and a string and a little squeeze clamp to be able to stretch it and match everything up. But then you got to remember that when you're doing that, you need to measure the width of the pulley, especially if you're doing it on the outside or the shiv, and you got to calculate where the center line is and how far each side is. Because even if you measure the side of that, it's not just the difference between the two. If one's wider or thicker, it's half that difference.
It's a deep hole to go down, I bet.
Oh, it was a really deep hole to go down, and I got pretty good at it. It changed the way that I maintained those systems. I wasn't just rolling things on and off with a screwdriver. I wasn't just slapping things on and running. I was sitting down, taking my time. Now, it does depend a lot on the motor mounts and the fan mounts. You know, if they have rubber cushion mounts on there, you can't tension that to specification.
Yeah.
You're not ever going to get it, because you'll squish those two together, and you'll take those two shafts, if they're lined up, and you'll angle them like this to each other. And then you just start wearing stuff out like crazy. You know, those two pulleys have got to be square to each other, because if you angle them like this, you start wearing the sides, one side or the other side, your belts eat up, they make noise. It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know how many hoods I open up and there's just like belt dust everywhere, and then like you run a new belt on there, you're like, Oh, no wonder there's belt dust everywhere. No wonder this belt burn off. I mean, belts wear out, but they really shouldn't break unless it's like something crazy going on, and then you know something's going on. So, um, yeah, when I first learned that you're not supposed to roll belts on, I
Whoops.
was like, "Oh, that's bad." Well, that's not how you do it.
Yeah. I mean, we've done it that way for years. It works fine. We've never had a problem with it. Well, we've never
No,
had a problem because nobody knew that you were having a problem. Nobody
so,
knew any better. Like I said, another one was they did a lubrication class for us on lubricating the motors and
mhm.
lubricating the bearings in those. That was another eye opener for that kind of equipment where you're going to be up there greasing that thing, because certain things over greasing is
Wor-
sometimes even worse than under
Worse,
greasing.
yeah, yeah. I always love when I go up and I follow we'll follow a maintenance company or something, like a hood doesn't work now or the hood's something's wrong, and I get up there and like you pop the top off and you just see grease squirting out everywhere. I'm like, holy smokes, this guy have a battery powered grease gun and just like let her eat or what?
Yeah, if you're using those battery powered grease guns, they have an adjustment on there
Yeah.
to like turn down the number of pumps. Use those.
Well, I run into the problem like where there's like so many different types of grease and like you got to know what the color of the grease is and what it does and some guys just like they carry one grease and just throw it in everything. I'm like, you can't mix greases. It's kind of weird how that stuff goes. I'm like, that's a whole nother like now I gotta carry like three different grease guns. Like, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah, it can get out of hand really quick. Um, eh, as a technician, especially on maintenance accounts, I started making notes in things like I'm using this type of grease.
Hmm.
I'm going to put, you know, X number of pumps in it every time I come out here. It's it's um it's a whole different problem.
Yeah.
And again, that's another class that you can go to a power distribution distributor. Like here we got Horner. I think there's a couple others in town, but and it's been a long time since I've been in those, but man, that's a whole different thing that we've got to know if you're going to
Hmm.
maintain that stuff well and maintain it properly.
Nice, nice. So you did that for a little bit. You went and did some engagement stuff
Well,
for.
after I worked for the commercial company, that was my last field gig.
Mhm.
And then I got asked by a distributor to come do their regional tech support and training.
Nice.
So I went and worked for a pretty large distributor and did the HVAC tech support and training. I supported three different brands in Indiana, part of Ohio, part of Kentucky, and part of Illinois.
That's a
Uh,
pretty big area.
yeah, it was pretty big. It was a pretty big territory to try to cover, and that was it was challenging. I will say my hat is off to people that do technical support all day long for years and years. I mean, some of those people have got um, you know 20, 30 years in that. I I finally realized that that wasn't me. I couldn't take that,
It's
and
brutal. It's
it
brutal.
it can be brutal, some of the phone calls you're taking. And what I figured out was I wanted to go, share that knowledge better. I wanted to have a better platform, wider ways to share that
Mhm.
knowledge rather than just that very concentrated group. Um,
Yeah, I got to hang out with. He used to be a technician for us. He left about November, December last year. Went to work for a manufacturer, and the manufacturer actually brought this piece of equipment into my office today, and it's really cool. We did a service reliability thing. So like it's not released to general market yet. We gotta like he's like, hey, what do you see wrong with this thing? Just start tearing it apart. How would you fix this? What would you change on this? And we just tore this thing apart for like 4 hours today, just going through it. But he went to work for tech support for this company and he's just like, how do you do it? He's like, man, he's like, it's rough. I was like, I remember when I first started doing this, there's a guy that works for a company. If you called him and he asked you for gas pressure and you said okay or good, he'd just hang up on you. Like that was 20 years ago. And like you just click. I'm like he wouldn't even say nothing. He just hang up. And I'm like, that taught me like, okay, if I'm calling tech support, I better have done some work before I started and have some information. And it made me a lot better technician. But that was that was rough, man. So I can only imagine. I don't think you could probably get away with that these days, but back then you probably could. Nowadays, someone would call and telling you, I'm sure, for doing that and end it. But shout out, shout up, shout. th- Thank you to the tech support guys, because
Yeah.
those guys, they deal with some wild stuff. Like, how do I turn my meter on? Where do I check voltage? Gas
Yeah.
pressure. How do you check that? I'm like, I'd be trying to call people's bosses. It'd be bad.
Yeah. It's bad. And it was rough from a distributor level because it's hard from a distributor sometimes to tell somebody that you want to sell product to, hey, you guys don't know what you're doing and you need to keep learning. You know, I got a call from a guy one day, wanting help on diagnosing an air conditioner. And, I'm talking to him and he says, yeah, well, I put this, it was an R22 system. And cause that was at the, towards the tail end of the R22 phase out. So we had all kinds of substitute refrigerants and, he had an R22 system there that they had topped off with a different refrigerant. And he's like, well, my boss told me to call you, I need help trying to figure out why this thing's not cooling. And I said, so you put a different refrigerant in there. What PT chart would you like me to use? Because I don't have a PT chart that has all these refrigerants mixed together on it.
In this specific blend, you don't know how much was in there. You probably don't know how much you put in it if he's calling you.
Yeah. I mean, he probably knew how much he had put in it, but he doesn't know how much R22 is in there. And now he's got, a host of mixed gases. I'm just like, guy, I can't help you. And why are you putting this in? Why did you do that? You all should know. And his boss was telling him to do it. And I'm like, man, that's rough.
Yeah. And that goes back to guys getting put in positions they shouldn't be put in. And
yeah,
you got to question authority. I understand some people are probably scared. They don't want to get trouble or they don't want to look like, they're just trying to cause trouble at work. But I mean, if you're handling refrigerant, you took your EPA, you should understand that you don't want to mix gases. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. So that's a bad spot to be in though. I mean, like I said, most guys are probably just scared they're going to get in trouble and lose their job. So they just do what their boss tells them because they think their boss knows everything. And that's rarely the case.
like we talked about earlier, none of us know everything.
No. I'm really good at finding information is what I always tell everybody.
I got Google fingers.
Yeah, it's getting easier and easier every day. You just can't trust what Google spits out sometimes.
You can't, as they say, trust but verify. There's a lot of really good information out there, and there is probably an equal amount of, and maybe more of, bad information out there.
What's the thing with like ChatGPT and all these other large language models? Like, it's only as good as information fed into it. So, I mean, there's nefarious people doing all kinds of things. There's probably nefarious people feeding information in there is wrong just to like stir up the trouble. I mean, I hate to sound like that, but I'm sure people will just put bad information in there and it just gets mixed in and fed out.
I'll say one of the things with large language models, if you're using just an off the shelf large language model, look at the references that it's pulling out. Roughly, I think it was about a year ago, I saw a chart that had compiled where the majority of information that the large language models were pulling from was two sources on the internet. Any guesses as to what those two were? 1 and 2.
Probably Google and YouTube.
No, actually not, because those models really have a hard time with video content.
Yeah, that's true.
And they also have a hard time with PDF documents unless you feed it to them. They want to see just written content.
Really?
And they want to see freely available written content that they can grab from on the internet. Top 2 sources, Reddit and Wikipedia.
Oh boy. That's terrible. That's terrible.
If you're pulling information in, you might just be getting the latest Reddit conversation.
Reddit is full of so many trolls. You can't trust hardly anything from there. Wikipedia, you can just go in and change Wikipedia. Like, I can go to a random document on Wikipedia and just change it because I don't think it's right. And that's wild. Right. If it's unlocked, it's free game. So that's insane. I never even thought of it that way. Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah. So unless you train a model to go look for something and look at specific things and then feed it information. Like, it's really great at high level math as long as you feed it the proper equations.
Yeah, one parenthesis in the wrong spot changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you point it to, like if you want it to do a certain problem and you point it to a resource like a PDF document that has all that information in it, and then you tell it what calculations you want to do, it'll do a really, really good job of that. But if you just randomly tell it to do something, or like you said, put a parentheses or whatever in the wrong spot, whatever symbol you want to throw at it, garbage in, garbage out, man.
Yeah. Rich, my co-host, his son was like, had this installation manual for this oven, and he couldn't find information in there. It's translated from Italian, so it's wild anyways. And he couldn't find it, so he just took the PDF and like threw it into Chat GPT. He's like, find me this, and it like found it and like spit it back out to him. He's like, thank you, here's the information, and it worked. It was perfect. But he fed in good information, and it found what he was looking for and gave it right back to him. So there's a place for it, but I think finally relying on it for information is kind of wild.
Yeah, that becomes very, very challenging. I do use AI. I think it's a very useful thing. It's kind of an advanced search engine a lot of times, and information compiler. But anything that AI pulls out or gives to me, I'm going through it 100%. I'm double checking it in some way. I'm looking at it critically, saying, what could you do wrong? Because essentially, AI is kind of like a first pass at things. If you're developing something, if you're looking for information, even math problems. Early on when I started using it for math, I was like, man, is this right? Because some of the math is things that I don't know how to do. And let's put it this way. I don't like doing a lot of math. I do a lot of math, but I don't like it.
I used to be a lot better at it when I was younger. I've gotten lazy now with the advent of the internet and things.
As I tell people, I have spreadsheets, and spreadsheets house mathematical formulas, and I just make a calculator in a spreadsheet, and it's like, there you go, have at it.
Yeah. So you moved on from the distributor side. What was next after that?
Well, after that was when I opened up, my own business and started doing training. And at first, I had a couple customers that pretty much took all of my time. COVID changed that. I was doing a lot of in-person training around Indiana and Michigan and Kentucky and that kind of stuff. And then COVID changed that. That kind of dried up a couple contracts that I had, and I started doing a lot of small stuff and ended up doing some contract work for True Tech Tools. That turned into full-time work at True Tech Tools for about 3 years. And then last spring, I decided to leave that position and go back to working on my own. So I'm kind of ramping things up for myself right now. Took a few months off this summer, doing some stuff around the house. Today, dealing with a dog that somebody dumped in the neighborhood down here, close by to me. So I went out last night and picked him up at about 9 o'clock or something last night, and trying to get him cleaned up a little bit, fixed up, maybe some shots, and getting him back into a good home. It kind of tore me up seeing somebody leave a really, really good dog. I mean, this guy's a great dog on the side of the road. So
yeah, that's the bad thing. I mean, I love animals, and people, they get animals and maybe they fall in situations where they can't take care of them anymore, but don't just dump them. Like, reach out. There's an organization that can help you place a dog in foster, or organization. Don't just dump them, because that's a recipe for disaster for the dog. It didn't deserve, it didn't ask to be put out there. So
yeah, I mean, sad thing is, like, a lot of those organizations are full right now.
Oh yeah.
The shelters are full. They were trying to find the people that originally found the dog were trying to find shelters, and they either couldn't get a hold of them because of course it's late at night, or they're full, and they're like, we can't take anymore. So
yeah, the local shelter up here had to evacuate because the river flood. I'm at Anderson, and we've had this historic crazy rain up here, and like it was like the animal shelter was like 6 feet underwater because the river was up like 25 feet, which is insane to
Yeah.
think of the River Blanco or White River being up that high. But yeah, they had to evacuate. My wife's like, I'm gonna go help. And she's like, oh, they got enough people. They said not to come. They don't need any more help. And it's sad to see.
Yeah.
I've got a soft spot for animals. I always have. I'm a sucker for a dog or a cat, or heck, if you come to my house, it's a freaking zoo. I've got a dog. I've got a cat that thinks he's a dog. He was raised by dogs, so he thinks he's a dog. He begs for treats like a dog. He tries to do tricks. I've got aquatic turtle. We've got a tortoise. We've got a lizard. It's a zoo around here. It's fun. You never know what you're gonna see, but I love animals, and yeah, it's fun. It gives me something to do besides stare at a computer or my phone screen all day.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, this guy's, like I said, great dog. I don't think we're going to be able to keep him, but I'd love to be able to. But can't always keep them all.
Yeah, you get in trouble that way. I told my wife, if I ever won the lottery, I'd move out in the country and I have a dog rescue. I just have barns and just have a dog rescue. That's what would be my job. I just play with dogs and hopefully I find them a home. If not, I guess they just live with us for the rest of our lives.
That'd be a heck of a thing to start right there.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
So what all are you doing? You're diving back into it heavy, trying to get back into it. What all kind of classes and trainings do you offer?
Well, I haven't really offered anything out yet, but I'm going to be starting to doing some stuff here later on this fall. I'm going to be focused primarily on the HVAC side.
Mm-hmm.
A lot on my goal is to really help tie the building science and the HVAC together a little bit more, but really focused on indoor comfort. But I'm also going to be doing some consulting work for the industry as well as some research work.
Nice. Yeah, building sciences. I didn't realize how in depth that was until I make some comments on some stuff, and I get these building science guys all over me. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just in a restaurant, guys. Like people all the time, like, exhaust. What, do they run that through a filter? I'm like, no. I'm like, you don't understand how this works. Like, what do you mean? I'm like, a restaurant exhaust is like free advertisement. It's like the smell of the food gets out. And it's like it's advertising. They do not want that. They don't want to treat that smell. They want that smell to get out. Like you drive by a Texas Roadhouse, it's a Texas Roadhouse by the smell of the bread and the steaks. You're like, what it is. Like that's free advertising. They don't treat that stuff. They, it's just a byproduct of what they do. And the building science guys that's some smart guys, man. If I want to feel dumb, I get in some building science conversations and I'm just like, whatever, man, this is wild. Start talking about like building tightness and spray foam and different spray foams, what you should use, what you shouldn't use. I'm like, we were talking about spray foam earlier, and I was just like, some of these guys, like, the house is too tight, you got to bring in fresh air, you got to do this. I'm like, this is insane, guys.
I mean, and that's true of everywhere. Whether you're working in a restaurant, whether you're working in an office building, whether you're working in a house, there's certain things we got to do. And one of my big things is I look at any kind of indoor space, whether it's a restaurant or anything like that. I'm looking at human comfort. We condition indoor spaces for humans, whether it's conditioning the food that the humans are going to consume, conditioning the medicines that the humans are going to take at some point in time. All of this stuff is all done for human comfort and convenience. It all boils down to that. We wouldn't be doing any of it if it weren't for the human comfort and convenience and health aspects of it. So there's a lot of things there that we can really dive into, like in restaurants. Some restaurants really want their people to be comfortable, and some are like, we want you to be a little bit uncomfortable so that you eat and get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
and I mean, they don't want to keep a table sitting around. They can't make money on a table that's sitting there talking. They make money on a table that's buying food or buying drinks or whatever that is. So they need to keep their table turned. And if you keep your occupants a little bit uncomfortable, they don't want to sit around and talk there. Now they need to be comfortable enough that they're going to come in and sit and eat and enjoy the food. And if the food's good, they'll probably tolerate a little bit of discomfort long enough to finish their food, and then they're going to get out, which means the restaurant can turn the table over.
Yeah, most time it's a little cold. They'd rather be a little cold than too
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
People complain more about being hot than cold. So generally, like a restaurant will run colder
Yeah.
than it needs to be, which is nice in the winter for them, but in the summer it's kind of expensive. But
Well, I mean, and I can confirm that just working in the comfort industry for a long time, like going into people's houses. You go in there in the summertime and they're hot, they're angry that you weren't there way sooner. You show up in the wintertime when they're cold and they're thankful that you're showing up, and they're like, oh, we can get by a little while, you know, being cold and throw on some more blankets, but it's hard to take more off at a certain point in the summertime when it's hot in there.
oh yeah, I recently had 2 giant maple trees cut down, and I hated doing. I love the trees, but they're like probably the guys like, man, this trees are probably like 150, 200 years old. They're just monsters, and they were starting to break and fall in the house. And the problem was they were on the west side of the house, and they shaded the entire house. So this was my first summer without them, and I was like, why is it 73 degrees in here? It's never been 73 degrees in there. I go out there and like clean my outdoor unit, and I'm like, the next day, I'm like, it's 73 in here. I'm like, oh, I cut down those big giant shade trees. Yeah, now I just get all that good afternoon sun beating down on the house.
And now you just did a building science experiment.
Yep, exactly. It's like my AC used to always keep up, and now it doesn't keep up in the summer. This is great. I'll take it, so I don't have a tree limb falling through me in my sleep. So there's trade-offs.
Yeah,
so
yeah, there is. I'm with you. I love a nice tree around the house, but I don't want them too close to the house.
Yeah, these things were monsters, man. The guy's cutting them down. He's like, yeah, I should have quoted you more. He's like, I can't even hardly pick these chunks up and get them out of here. I'm like, that's your problem now.
Yeah, that is your problem.
It's funny. But yeah, like you said, that is a building science project. Everything's a science project. Depends on how you look at it and the results you get.
I mean, honestly, pretty much everything we do in the world is a science project to some point. We can do as much testing on the head end as possible, but at some point we got to turn it loose on the world and see how the world reacts to whatever this is, whether that's food, medicine, different air conditioning, you know, whatever it is. And sometimes we get lucky and it doesn't really hurt things, and sometimes we don't get lucky and we got to make changes. And that's the way the world works around us. We're in a constantly evolving giant science project. And HVACR, we've got to deal with a lot of that because a lot of what we do, you know, we keep the air clean, we condition the air, we're taking heat out of it, we're adding heat to it, we're adding humidity, we're taking humidity out, all that kind of stuff. And people that are breathing and feeling and everything else, you know, or we're dealing with the food stuff like you deal with a lot of times, you know, we're taking care of that food because we want to make sure that it's healthy going into people. So it's a big, wide open, arena with a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I started this 20 years ago. I never thought I'd be where I'm at now. It's like, it's so much science and so much cool stuff to learn. Like, there's the basic stuff you think you got to figure it out, and then you go work on some super advanced piece of equipment, and then you forget all about the basic stuff. You go back to the basic stuff, you're getting like, how's this work? Like, you struggle on some of the dumbest things sometimes.
Well, but you know, realistically, a lot of times it all comes down to basics. Even on the most complicated pieces of equipment, you can have a super complicated board or circuit board with all kinds of wires and lights and stuff on it, but it's all inputs and outputs. You just have to know what the inputs and outputs are supposed to be able to test and say, this is doing what it's supposed to, or it's not doing what it's supposed to. And then you got to ask why.
Reading a schematic has been the wildest thing in the last 20 years. Like, basic stuff to stuff now where I've got these German engineered combi ovens, and that's what a combi ovens, it's a steamer and oven in one. It can do hot air, it can do steam, or it can do a mixture of both. And I work on them all the time. They're great pieces of equipment, super expensive, super in depth, but like, you pull out a wire diagram, it's like 20 pages, and like you gotta figure out how to understand like this section is like a board, and then you got all your inputs and outputs, and then like it tells you on like this page where to go. So you like gotta go find that page. I'm like, okay, it goes here, and you're just like, can I just lay this out in a big like pattern on the floor? No, it doesn't even make sense if you try to do that. It's just it's wild. Some of these wiring diagrams are out there, and I'm like, I get frustrated with new guys. I'm like, why can't you figure this out? I'm like, man, when I started 20 years ago, dude, everything fit on one page, and it was nothing like this.
Yeah.
So
You just hand it to him, say, here, can you follow this?
yeah, it's
yeah, you end up with a notebook full of stuff. Well, this goes to here, and this goes to here, and this goes to here, and that's where you got to dig into the sequence of operations, because a lot of times it's, well, we got to have this input first to get this output, to get this input to get this output. That becomes really hard if a manufacturer doesn't write a good sequence of operations to go along with that wiring diagram, because the sequence of operations is what helps the technicians understand those diagrams.
Yeah, I've got touchscreen fryers that have like 6 different voltages in them. I'm like, what am I checking here, where, and there? It's like 120 voltage, 24 AC, 12 AC, 12 DC, 5 DC, 3 DC. You're like, what in the world is going on here? Like, can we make this stop, please? It's a fryer, dude. I just want some chicken nuggets. Like, come on, guys.
Just want some chicken nuggets. I love that. Yes, please. Let's get some chicken nuggets.
So with your venture you got going on, what's your client base? Is it companies? Is it individuals? Is it large scale, small scale? Is it manufacturers? Just all of the above? Anybody that's wanting some information or training on something you offer, can they just reach out to you and set something up? Or
yeah. Reach out to me. Email, find me on social media. LinkedIn's a really easy place to get a hold of me. I'll do some work for manufacturers. I'm working for a project that a manufacturer's got going on right now, and helping them out to help design some new product. And there's just all kinds of different stuff that I will do, and I do some direct work for homeowners as well when they have like really deep comfort problems in their house or things like that. That I'll go in and do more of the building science measurements, and then make a plan for the HVAC contractor about how to fix that. Or maybe the building science, a building performance contractor, like, an insulator, an air sealer, something like that, and try to relate those together for the homeowners to do. And so that's kind of another thing that I started doing. I don't do a lot of it, but I really haven't advertised it that much either.
Nice. I'm anxious to see what you got going on. I seen, when you left your previous place, I was like, oh man, we had some interactions over there, and it was nice seeing you at trade shows and stuff. And you probably have a little more free time at trade shows now. You can actually go walk around and talk and do some things instead of just work. I guess you'll be working though, one way or another. But I was excited to see you get back, to doing what you're passionate about, what you really love. I mean, it's wild to see that side of it, because I'm not from that side. I don't understand that side, but I love seeing people's passion. And if someone's passionate about it, I'm more willing to listen and engage in it. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I go to a class and some guy's monotone and he looks like he doesn't want to be there, I'm checked out. But if I'm there and someone is passionate about it and they're excited to show you or teach you something, I'm like, I'm checked in. I'm there. I want to learn. So that's how I try to be with my guys when I'm teaching. I try to be passionate. I try to have fun. I try to be engaging. If I see the guys, dozing off or whatever, I'll pick on them. I'll try to get them back in. But that passion and actually enjoying what you do goes a long way. I mean, it's cliche, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I mean, you're going to work, but it's more enjoyable if you do like it.
Oh, for sure. And, to your point, like I was at one point in time, I was one of those monotone trainers that stood there. And I mean, I gave a lot of people some great naps. Like, I'm sure they love that.
I get that way. Some of the stuff I have to teach, like they make me teach for some of the stuff. Like, I'm sorry, we're going to get through this. I don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. Let's just do it. And we'll go have some fun with some other stuff. But I have to tell you this, and it's not fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I've changed my style. Like I changed my teaching style. I got some really good help. I saw some really good things out there. Shout out to people like Ty Branneman, who are, Ty's probably the most anti-PowerPoint person I know. Now I do, I do use PowerPoint, but I don't use it. I'm not going to write a book.
It's not death by PowerPoint, is what you're
Yeah, it's not
saying?
death by PowerPoint. I'm not going to write a
Oh.
book and put a book up on the screen that I could just send you in a PDF and you can just read it. I'm not going to stand there and read you a book. Like that's not my teaching style.
No.
And it drives me nuts when people do that. And I am, every chance I get, and I'm sure there's more than one instructor out there that has said, why is this guy telling me to stop using PowerPoints? And it's because of what I did early on, because of what I saw people in my classes doing. Like, you guys are just going to sleep. I had people in my classes. Yeah, Todd. Yeah, we've all been there. I think, I've literally had people in my classes snoring. I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, this is, at first I was unhappy. I'm like, why aren't they're staying awake? And then I had to reflect. And this is one of the biggest things we can do as humans in general, but especially as technicians or trainers or whatever it is. We got to reflect on that, because as a communicator, anytime doesn't matter whether we're communicating to customers, to coworkers, to our bosses, to people on the internet, as a communicator, our job is to meet people where they're at and to get the information that we want into a format that somebody else can understand.
Yeah. That's a great point to put it.
That's a hard thing to do.
Oh, it's terrible. I change every time I teach class just based on what I see or interact. That's the hardest thing to do is, teach, make sure everyone's engaged or paying attention.
Once I started like really thinking about like where my style needed to be in classes, I've never taught the same class twice.
Yeah. The very first
matter
time,
if it's the same subject or the same slides. I've never taught the same class twice.
My very first time I taught at Cefesa, like they just gave me the presentation, like, here you go. And I was like, it was like 90% PowerPoints. And like some of these like Copeland slides from like the 80s and 70s. I'm like, no, I am not teaching discus compressors to these guys because they're never going to see one. And after that week, I was like, you guys got to change this. Like, that's why you're here. And I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, every time I go back, it's less and less PowerPoints. I'm like, I'll start scrolling through. I'm like, yeah, I'm deleting this. We're skipping this. We're not doing this. Let's go do this. Let's go try this. And fortunate enough where I'm doing things, I can teach it, and then we can go put the test. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that seems to work really well for what I do. So, I mean, I have fun doing it. It's different every time. It's, everybody reacts differently. I'm teaching anywhere from, if I'm at one, it's 6. If I'm at the other, it's up to 16. Just depends on, the groups. And I love it. I never thought I'd be a teacher and instructor, but it's really fun, man. And once you see someone catch on or someone understand why you do something, it's totally rewarding.
Yeah. Well, and it was something I never dreamed that I would. Hey, Joel, what's up?
There's been a million mustache comments. I had to show one of them at least.
Well, it is kind of something I'm known for.
The walrus pose picture. I wanted to use that so bad I didn't do it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I never saw myself as a teacher, and I still don't really think of myself as a teacher. I like to think of myself more as a mentor. I want to share, like, not just this one little subject. I want to share like everything around it with people. Life lessons, whatever else that I can do, whatever if I think I've got something that'll help you, I'm willing to help you. And if you think I've got something that can help you, just ask. And if I've got it, I'll share it, and Mike B down there, he says he prefers hands-on classes. I love hands-on classes, but here's the thing. A lot of times in this industry, it's not hands-on that makes the difference. It's brains-on. So a lot of these classes we got to go into, and as a teacher, I try to ask the class questions. I try to engage brains in those classes because I want people coming in and thinking. I want them asking questions. I want to activate their brains because that's where we really get in trouble a lot of times. We can do this stuff with our hands, right? we really need to be able to activate our brains, whether it's recalling something that we didn't know, pulling that piece of information out, saying, hey, I know there's something else that I got to know about this piece of equipment or this situation. I either need to go ask somebody, I need to look up some more information, because we're never going to have it all.
Yeah, muscle memory gets you in trouble.
Yeah,
Like, it creates bad habits. It can make you lazy. It can help you can miss the obvious. And I catch myself doing it all the time. I'll work on the same thing, same problem over and over and over. And I just get to like, I know what it is. And like next thing you know, I'm like, oh, that wasn't it. And just because you get in that routine, that rut, I'm like, okay, I gotta slow down and think about this again because I just got lazy. I'm used to doing it over and over and over, and I thought it was this, and no, it wasn't that this time. And now I'm down a rabbit hole I didn't need to be in.
Yeah, I mean, and I saw that a lot in tech support. I would
Mhm.
get calls from techs, hey, I'm on the way to the job. I'm going to be working on this kind of equipment. What do you think it could be? It's apparently not cooling. I don't know. You want me to list all the problems it could be?
Let's start with power. Let's start there at the beginning. Let's go from there.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
you just kind of work down the line, and I'm like, you need to get on site. You need to
mhm.
start taking some measurements. You need to get this stuff done. And a lot of times, once they get on site, either they're going to solve it themselves, they're going to figure it out, or I'm going to have to ask them a bunch of questions. And that's where, like, really digging into those brain problems, the problem solving skills. To me, problem solving skill is a process in and of itself, right? You ask the question, you hypothesize, you test the hypothesis, you verify, and then you go back and see if it works. Yeah. Oh, there's my lovely wife there.
Yeah. So problem solving skills connect the hands-on and critical thinking to desired outcomes. 100%. That's a great way to put it. Definitely a great way to put it. So
Yeah. And no, Todd, I don't have a crystal ball. Sorry.
yeah, I was going to put that up there. Yeah. If I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be here. I'd be sitting somewhere warm and not raining.
My crystal ball has been on back order from the manufacturer for a long, long time, and I don't think it's ever going to come in.
I could probably whip up a magic 8-ball, maybe. Outlook not so good.
I wonder, somebody needs to make an HVAC magic or an HVACR magic 8-ball, and like every answer is it's the TXV.
You can do it. You just got to come up with like 20 things. I think it's like a 20-side die in them. Like, there's a company that does it because there's a guy that made one I seen on TikTok shop selling it. It was like smart aleck comments or whatever. And I was like, that's pretty good. But yeah, that's a good point. We need to make that and start selling that as merch somewhere, I think.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So I did that Sefesa Top Tech Throwdown. You probably see me share it on social media. It's a competition. We had a hot side, cold side, and we crowned the winner a couple weeks back. It's one of the funnest things I've done in the last year. It's like been my shining moment. But several of us bought shirts for everyone, and like one guy, he's a hot side guy, so he doesn't understand. So anytime we start talking about cold side refrigeration stuff, he's like, it's the TXV. So he bought us all shirts that says, keep calm and change the TXV.
Love that. Keep calm, change the TXV.
I wanted to wear it to the competition, but one of the problems was the TXV, so I couldn't wear it. They're like, no, you can't wear that. I'm like, oh, all right.
It's always the TXV, except when it's not, and then it's not, and then you got to figure out how to not troubleshoot a TXV.
I've got a young kid, man. He loves, like, he wants to crank on. He's like, superheat, and I'm like, dude, it's 60 degrees in a walk-in cooler. Superheat's the least of your concern right now, dude. Like,
stop.
Like,
Whoa.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it. I don't care what your superheat is right now. Let's see what our pressures are before we're not doing superheat. Stop. Like, yeah. No, don't touch that valve. I'm gonna take your wrench from you.
At least, maybe before you even take pressures, take some temperatures in some different places.
Dude, man, I'm getting lucky. I'm getting spoiled, getting run to a lot more of electronic controlled TVs and stuff, and the smart controllers, and like you just like start pushing buttons, and it's like reading everything off. Like, this is cool. Like, it makes it nice until you get a bad transducer. But I really appreciate you coming on. We can stay here and talk forever. I'll have to have you come back on later on. We'll talk some more about, some of your training stuff once you get rolling and getting that more up to the front. We'll have you back on and talk more about it. But I really appreciate you coming on. If you want to share your socials, most of you guys probably already know where to find him. He's kind of everywhere. So you want to go ahead and share where people can find you, your website, LinkedIn.
Yeah, unfortunately I haven't turned my website on yet. I'm still building that out.
Yeah,
So
I tried to go because in your email, I tried to go look for your website. I was like, he doesn't have it turned on. He's got his email turned on now.
yeah, it's easy to turn email onto a website. It's a little more work to turn on a website these days. Yeah, but find me on LinkedIn, find me on Facebook, find me on Instagram. You can find HVACELK on there on Instagram, and HVAC Kaiser. I've actually got two different accounts on Instagram now. So
Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll put a teaser out tomorrow. Full episode will be out Friday, audio version, and I'll make sure I tag Eric and all this stuff. I'll put his website on there. I don't know when he's gonna turn it on, so don't yell at me if the link doesn't work. But I will put his website on there so you guys can reach out to him. I
yeah,
appreciate you coming on. I appreciate the support over the last few years. It's cool to see fellow Hoosiers. There's a handful of us that do educational stuff and do HVAC and show it off online. It is growing.
yeah,
It's a really good group of people in Indiana
yeah.
that love what they do. They're passionate about what they do, and it really shows.
Well, Pat, I appreciate you having me on. I know it was short notice, but it worked out great for both of us. And likewise for you, man. You've been doing a lot of great stuff, and you're helping out a segment of the industry that I could probably figure out if I was looking at it, but I don't know a lot about it. So
It's fun. Like I said, you start talking building science, and I'm like, I feel so lost and geeked out, but I want to learn it. I just, when will I apply it? But it's always fun to learn things, even if you don't apply them, just to learn to say things. That's what I like to do.
yeah, that's for sure. But definitely we'll definitely get back together and talk about some stuff sometime. I appreciate it tonight.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
See you, everybody.
If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicles@gmail.com. Or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.